Uncle Butchie's handy dandy guide to rhythm and timing. Here we go. I found in the wonderful world of music that timing is a whole bunch of stuff, the way the bluegrass guys talk about it. Basically, it has three elements. You have pace or tempo. You have rhythm. And you have timing. Three components. And I think this is the way it works in pretty much any music. This pace tempo business, it ain't nothing but the dead click of a clock. It's the same distance between the 37 and the 38 second mark as it is between the 2 and the 3 second mark when that hand clicks. That same interval has occurred. Now, when you got folks standing around picking together, the closer they are in sync with that, that's the number one thing that we got. That's what I've written about right here. That's the tall lines right there. That's the timing of a beat. All right? In bluegrass music, the same time you got that beat, you got yourself a little backbeat happens around here. That's where your mandolin chops. So traditionally in bluegrass music, the bass will hit this note right here, and the mandolin will hit his chop right there. That's the simplest place to put it. Now we get the traditional guitar deal, and you got a pick for that bass note and a strum that occurs for this. When the banjo plays, he also plays, here's his thumb, index, thumb, middle. That's the banjo roll right there. That's the nature of it all. What happens? I ain't got no names on it, so you're going to have to listen to me talk. And if it's confusing, I'm sorry. In my experience with musicians, I have played with a few or observed a few who everything that they play is just dead right on that beat. And it's about as close as anything you ever seen. Let me see, there's Kenny Baker and Alan Shelton and Jimmy Dwayne Brock and J.D. Crowe. Most of the musicians, 99% of those musicians that I play with, play right here. The beat hits and they hit because they're listening, or they're not well enough rehearsed, or they're unsure of themselves. They don't have confidence to go out there and play. Every once in a while, you get somebody that jump right out here and play. They're playing just a little bit in front of that beat. Now, if you get a hold of that Foggy Mountain Banjo record that I was telling you about, you'll find that Earl is somewhere between 5 and 10 milliseconds in front of the beat all the time. Perfect at it. The question to me got to be, these people are playing a different thing. Well, what's the difference in the distance compared to the distance from there to there, where it really is, that's your timing? They're all playing in time with one another, but don't sound exactly right. Timing. We ain't said nothing about that yet. We're talking about pace. Where do we find that beat to be? Rhythm. Rhythm ain't nothing but a biomechanical movement. Whether it's this movement right here, the thumb, index, thumb, middle, or this movement right here, strum a guitar with a little wider range on that strum right there, using the elbow a little more in it, or the one that concerns a mandolin. Monroe's technique, if you looked at the plane of the back of his hand right here and his arm, it was like this. He didn't use the weight of his hand to create that. A lot of folks you see play like that and they use the weight of their hand. His hand was relatively closed, had tremendous control of the pick, and it was just like this, and he would rest the heel of his hand on the bridge when he wanted to change the notes, when he wanted to mute them, to add tones to them. Kind of like Louis Armstrong with his little deal, his mute that he put in his trumpet. Anyhow, rhythm, a biomechanical movement that when repeated gives a sensation of movement. There's something going, you know, and it's a repeating, just like that melody is a repeating sequence of notes. That rhythm's a repeating biomechanical movement. Timing. I'm getting ready to jump up here. Ain't got a golf club in the house. Got the second best thing. We got a banjo right here. It's a good one. All right. I've got pace or tempo. 1001, 1002. Pace. Tempo, 1001, 1002, 1001, 1002, 1001, 1002. It's a golf swing. Nothing to it. And school teacher guys, that one golf coach I said, it's simple, count 1,000. I can't do that. My golf swing is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the way I have to pace mine out. That's the tempo in my head. This right here, biomechanical movement, involves the trunk rotating on the spine as if it were an axis, cocking of the wrists on the way back, the roll of the wrist, and the release of the club on the way down. Biomechanical movement. Timing. Great. If I do this and I don't release soon enough, the ball's gone way off to my right. If I do this right here and I release too soon, the ball's gone over yonder. When I come right here, right dead on what I'm looking to do, there's a straight line between my shoulder, my elbow, my wrist, my club, and I just hit the ball. And if I've let go of my hands, not forced them, let go of my hands when I'm making a swing, that ball's going to go straight. I almost got your microphone in there too. Pace, rhythm, timing. It's that way in music too. Right here we got. Now the funny thing that happens in music starts happening, you got sound here you're working with. And a sound has a beginning and it has an ending. You take a bass man. That bass man play you right on the beat there. As long as he's clipping his notes in one of these places, everything just hunky-dory. But let him start clipping that note right there, a little bit behind either the backbeat or the beat. Let him start clipping that note in one of those places and that music will start to pull it itself. Let him start popping off that note and clipping it too quick, and the music will get the feeling that it's wanting to run with itself. David Greer explained it to me one time. It's like let me do another little deal right here. He explained to me it's like, all right, let's see, we're going, which way are we going? We're going this way. I don't know how to draw engine. 5 flat cars on a railroad train. Theoretically, all your musicians sitting right in the middle of that deal right there. You got a lead man out here, it's a fiddle player. How does it change the speed of the train if that fiddle player goes out there on the front of his realm and starts to play with it? Don't change the speed of the train. Don't change the movement, the rocking or whatever it is that's going on there. He's just releasing his note a little bit quicker than them other guys. Stick Earl on a scope, Foggy Mountain banjo on it. All this digital equipment they got now, you can put it on there and look at it. Oh, Bill Monroe, where did he play? That's a good one, because Bill Monroe played right here. The piece of music dictated it. That bass man always had to be right. That bass man wanted to be right there on top of it. But Bill is a lead player. If it had to pull at you, if it had the blues, if it was dark as the night and blue as the day, he'd be a little bit behind it and he'd be pulling, it'd be hurting at you. If it was Molly and Ten Brooks or Road to Columbus, he played both of those things on about the same time. He'd be right dead nuts on it, just popping it. If it was Bluegrass Breakdown, Rawhide, he want that band to stay right there. He want to be a little bit out on front of it. Especially that part on the recording where he goes up really high. I think it's his second break that he takes in it. It's just, it'll bring you to your feet.